Are you ready to hop to it, sprinters? I sure am, because guess what? We are on week 6 of our 6-week training plan, finishing strong through the power of completion. I don't know about you, but man, after that powerful acceleration week, I am ready to complete, and I hope that you are too. So I thought I need a little help from a friend to do this, because today we're talking about the power of habit, which is day 36, okay? So here I have my little turtle friend, because we want to have a little turtle time, and at the same time, sometimes we have to flip a zoo around things and have a little rabbit habit. Okay, so this really is a hedgehog, but we're just gonna pretend it's a rabbit, because doesn't that work really cool? Because I want to talk about turtle time and rabbit habit. So how cool is this? Now, this comes from the story that we're all familiar with, is the race with the turtle and the hare. And I think that the poor hare always gets the bad rap, right? Because they didn't win. And in the end, it's all about winners. But I don't think that's necessarily true. So I want to give kudos to both, because I think that both are important. Sometimes we have to flip things around to get both sides of the perspective. Okay, so we're gonna start with the rabbit habit first, because that is totally what I've been teaching you in this sprint, is to have the rabbit habit. We have to sprint. We have to move things ahead. And I think why this is so powerful for me is I realize that this is one of my natural gifts. In fact, it's funny, I'd mentioned in the last week's training about that book, The 1 Minute Millionaire. So I totally found this survey result that they did. And my result, I indicated that I was a hare. Hare meaning not this hair, but that hair, you know, bunny hair. And they said, the hare generates the concepts and ideas. They like to reframe problems, look for solutions. They're good at alternatives, the big picture. They want freedom, constraint. When everything's in place, the hare may become restless and like to move from one thing to another. Hop around, yeah, and that's what I've been doing. Okay, so there's a lot of contribution is a fresh idea. The weakness is because they enjoy generating ideas, they're not very good at consistency. So, and also in Sally Hogshead's Fascinate assessment, I came back as the quick start, meaning same thing, like really good with getting started, innovative ideas, following through to completion, but then when it's completed, so the power of completion, I'm going to take you through, then I like to move on. So I need to extend what completion means to me to have more of a turtle time completion. Okay, so I'll get to the turtle time in a minute, but first the rabbit habit. Why this is important is because we need to take action. And that's what I love about the story of the hare is, boom, the rabbit, the hare jumped ahead. And it's good. Sometimes we have to sprint ahead, and it's okay. The hare took time to rest. That's okay too. But the problem with what happened in the story is the hare took too much time, got distracted, and didn't finish the race in time. So that's what can happen to us. We can get super excited and get started like the hare and have that kind of a habit. But it's really important that slow and steady, what? You can finish it for me, wins the race, as we all know from turtle time. So the power of consistency and knowing that things take a long time and we have to be patient with that and follow through and know that and embrace it. And this is definitely not a natural strength of mine, but I'm becoming to really love this turtle. So I'm hoping that I can learn from the power of the turtle of being that slow, steady, consistent force out there. Okay, so that's the habit I want you to think about. And for your one and done is to reflect on that and put your number one goal against the rabbit habit and turtle time so that you have both perspectives. Now, habits are really important, and I want to just give you a little bit more background on habit. Gretchen Rubin has written a book all around habits, and I have that link for you below. And what I love about her book is that she says, you know what, we're all unique. So a habit that works for me might not work for you because we're all different. So here, case in point, what percent of people consider themselves morning people, would you say? Any guesses? Yeah, that's what I thought. I would say that too. 65% of adults consider themselves morning people. 15% consider themselves afternoon people. 20% consider themselves evening people. And the lowly 6%, like me, consider themselves night people. So what she says is, even though many experts out there are toting that you should have a great morning habit and ritual, if you're like me and you're a night owl and you have a great night habit, it's really mean to try to force your habit onto mine. But she says habits are really important because we need to embrace them. They take up about what percent of mastery in our life? She believes it's about 40%. Our habits really form our lives. And you've probably heard it takes about 30 days to make a habit. And actually there's a myth around that. Many researchers say, it depends for people on what kind of habit, but it can be even half of that more, or double it. And that's really why I chose the 45 days, is because I feel like, okay, you've been doing this now for 30 some days, but if you complete it through the 45 days, this sprint idea will become a habit. And when you ingrain yourself into sprinting towards your goals, like not the turtle, but the hare, then you're much more able to get that momentum and get started, and then to stick with it and complete it like the turtle for turtle time. Okay, so your two good for you is to go ahead and just, go ahead and look and embrace some habits that are really good around your number one goal. And then the last thing that I want you to do is to learn from a story. I thought for this last week, when we're trying to complete things and you just feel like, oh, I want to be done. There's nothing better than a good story of somebody else who's a great completer related to that. So this one's going to come from Things That Grab Your Heart and Won't Let Go, from Mac Anderson of Simple Truths. So here's what the story shares. The year was 1983. In Australia, the long-distance foot race from Sydney to Melbourne was about to begin, covering 875 kilometers, more than 500 miles. About 150 world-class athletes entered for what was planned to be a 6-day event. So race officials were startled when a 61-year-old man approached and handed them the entry form. His name was Cliff Young, and his racing attire included overalls, galoshes, and work boots. At first, they refused to even let him enter. He explained that he had grown up on a 2,000-acre farm with thousands of sheep. His family couldn't afford neither horses nor tractors, so when the storms came, his job was to round up the sheep. Sometimes, he said, it would take 2 to 3 days of running to get the sheep. Finally, they let Cliff enter the event, and the race began. The others quickly left him way behind as he shuffled along with his galoshes. So the others were the rabbit, right? And Cliff was the turtle. He didn't know that the plan also included stopping each night to rest. So he, steady Eddie, kept going. By the 5th day, he had caught up to all of them. He won the race and became a national hero. He continued to compete in long-distance races until he was in his 70s. He was an inspiration to millions and a great encourager to young runners. In 2004, the year after his death at the age of 81, the organizers of the race, where he first gained fame, permanently changed its name to the Cliff Young Australian 6-day race in honor of him and his memory. So my final quote, here it says, do your work with your whole heart and you will succeed because there's very little competition. And that's from Albert Hubbard. So from my heart to yours, be love.